Arrogant millionaire challenges waitress to dance. Moments later, the crowd is left awestruck. The room was ablaze with laughter and clinking champagne glasses. Golden chandeliers sparkled over the crowd, casting a glow on the expertly arranged tables, draped in white satin. Ethan Sterling, the epitome of a self-made millionaire, stood at the center, his presence both magnetic and imposing. With a tailored suit and a crooked smirk, he thrived on attention, showcasing his success like pearls in a treasure chest. Tonight was about philanthropy. His gala aimed to dazzle and raise funds for the arts, but it also fed his insatiable ego. As the night unfolded in a blur of dazzling lights and sweet jazz, Ethan's gaze darted through the glamorous crowd. But his attention landed on someone unexpected, Emma, a waitress deftly maneuvering around towering plates of lobster and glasses of the finest wine. She had a quiet grace about her, unrecognized yet striking, with dreams of dancing under bright city lights gnawing at her heart. Suddenly, an electric hush fell over the room. Ethan, fueled by an ego that demanded applause, teased the idea of a dance-off, tossing the challenge towards Emma. Gasps echoed. Who would dare to face the millionaire in a matchup that could either elevate or embarrass? The crowd leaned in, breath held, in an awkward mix of excitement and disbelief. Emma stepped forward, heart racing. The spotlight was blinding, but the thunder of her pulse was louder. She had spent years training in forgotten corners, dreaming of this very moment. As the music began to swell, she lost herself in the rhythm, her body responding to the beat as if it were second nature. She danced for herself, for the dreams buried deep beneath plates and orders. Ethan, initially confident, found himself mesmerized. He was a businessman, not a dancer. Each calculated step paled against the raw emotion pouring from Emma. Her movements told stories, the struggles, the heartaches, the unwavering hope that her dreams could flicker alive like the stars in the city above. But as the crowd erupted into applause, something shifted in Ethan. He felt a knot tightening in his chest, something dangerously close to jealousy. He wanted the thrill of admiration. The spotlight that was now weaving its magic around Emma. In the cacophony of cheers, a dark thought curled in the back of his mind. What if he could redirect this attention? What if he could diminish her moment, even if just a bit? His heart raced. But it wasn't from envy alone. Part of him wanted to understand her, to know the fire that burned behind her eyes. This unexpected dance-off had cracked open something within him. Yet all he could do was watch as Emma effortlessly connected with the audience, leaving him feeling like a ghost in his own gala. The music swelled to a crescendo, and Emma's dance was more than just a performance. It was a revelation. The room fell silent, caught in the spell she had cast. Was this the moment she had dreamt of, or just a fleeting glimpse before the harsh reality returned? As the tension thickened, both in the air and in their hearts, the night loomed large with unspoken truth. What would Ethan choose, destruction or connection? Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And since you're here, smash that like button because it really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments which city are you watching from. I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. The music hit a peak, and Emma was lost in it. The audience began to sway, completely captivated. But just then, the doors swung open with a loud bang, and in strode a group of men in dark suits. They moved with a purpose, a tension trailing behind them that sent a wave of unease through the room. Conversations faded into murmurs. Ethan stood frozen, eyes locked on the newcomers. It was not their sharp suits that drew his attention, but the man at the front, a face he never thought he'd see again. Lucas Ramirez, an old rival, one whose battles had turned sour long ago. Ethan Sterling, Lucas declared, voice cold as steel. We need to talk. The crowd shifted, uneasy excitement bubbling beneath the surface. Whispers flew like sparks. What does he want? Isn't that the guy from... Ethan's heart pounded. He could feel his carefully built facade beginning to crack. The tension felt like a blanket of ice settling over the room. Eyes gleamed dangerously. Ethan's confident smirk faltered, and for the first time, uncertainty gnawed at him. Emma paused mid-dance, the rhythm of her movements faltering. She caught sight of Ethan, color draining from his face. Every gaze turned toward the unfolding scene. Even the music dimmed, like the chuckles of laughter had been turned down. What's going on? She thought, her heart pounding. Before Ethan could respond, Lucas stepped closer, smirking. Oh, you didn't forget about our little arrangement, did you? Or did you think you could bury those secrets forever? Gasps rippled through the crowd again. The air grew thick with anticipation. Gossip simmered. Eyes darted between the two men, then back to Emma, who felt suddenly out of place, caught in a web she didn't understand. Ethan's jaw tightened. This isn't the time or place, Lucas. Really? Lucas chuckled darkly. You brought the stage, and now comes the drama. People deserve to know the truth about your fortune, Ethan. This gala is a front, isn't it? A way to play hero while you hide the truth? A lump formed in Emma's throat. She could feel her heart race, but confusion flooded in. What did he mean? Her gaze flicked to Ethan, searching for answers, but he seemed lost, wrestled between anger and dread. The crowd was in a frenzy, some whispering loudly, others shouting questions. Someone yelled, "What truth?" Lucas took a deliberate step forward. Did I mention you might want to check your bank statements? Or how about your charity donations? I have some receipts. Ethan's expression shifted from warmth to icy detachment. Don't you dare, he spat, but the tremor in his voice betrayed him. As Lucas pulled out a stack of documents from his briefcase, the realization crashed over the room like thunder. Everyone's eyes widened. The stakes were rising. Secrets that could shatter reputations were being unveiled. Emma stumbled back, heart thumping. Her dreams of dance were eclipsed by shadows of betrayal. Was the man she'd just admired hiding a dark past? What truth could possibly destroy the image of the perfect millionaire? And then, just as it seemed the world was about to explode, the lights flickered, plunging the room into darkness. A collective gasp roared through the crowd. Darkness fell heavy like a suffocating blanket, stealing away sight, and the chaos erupted into confusion. Emma's pulse echoed in her ears. Fear gripped her. What was happening? What would this mean for her and Ethan? As shouts arose and panic spread, Emma felt herself stumble. She reached out, trying to find a handhold in the chaos. Would Ethan's truth come to light? Could their fleeting connection withstand such an upheaval? All she knew was that the night had just twisted into something darker, and a storm of secrets was only beginning to brew. The darkness enveloped the room, a thick veil of confusion. Gasps echoed like whispers in a storm. Emma's heart raced, fear gripping her. She couldn't see, couldn't breathe. Panic surged. Was this part of the show? Or something far worse? Then a piercing scream shattered the silence, not from the crowd, but from Lucas, a sound so out of place it sent a jolt through everyone. In the darkness, a flash illuminated the room momentarily, revealing Lucas's face, twisted in horror. For a heartbeat, the world held its breath. Then, thud, a wet noise followed, heavy and harrowing. Someone had fallen. The lights flickered back on, a stark light against chaos. Emma blinked and squinted, her breath hitching. Lucas was on the floor, clutching his side, eyes wide, skin pale. A man in the back staggered, panic etched on his face. "Call for help," shouted a voice, urgent and frantic. People surged back, faces turned from Lucas, desperate for answers. Confusion morphed into fear. Ethan's expression shifted from indignant anger to sheer shock as he fought through the crowd. The papers Lucas had pulled from his briefcase sprawled on the floor, forgotten in the confusion. Emma's heart sank as she stepped closer. The glint of a silver knife caught her eye, lying beside Lucas. A realization struck deep like a slap. The secrets they were about to unearth paled against this horrifying revelation. "What happened?" Emma whispered, her voice trembling as she approached Ethan, who now stood frozen, staring at the scene. I don't know," he stammered, eyes darting. "I didn't want this. I didn't think." Voices erupted, a mix of shouts and questions. "What just happened? Did someone stab him?" Gasps filled the air, and with it suspicion. Fingers pointed. Accusatory gazes flew like arrows. Emma bit her lip as she picked up the nearest paper. It was a bank statement, print running wild in her mind. But it wasn't just any statement. Numbers screamed at her. Huge amounts, unexpected transactions, names she never thought she'd see. The threads of Ethan's life were unraveling before her, and her mind raced as pieces began to fall into place. "What is this?" she gasped, shoving the document at Ethan. His face turned ashen, and for the first time, she saw a flicker of fear, not for himself, but for the truth that lay behind him. "Emma." He began, but the weight of Lucas's groans cut through. Eyes shifted back. Some crowded closer, eager for the drama. Others recoiled, struck by the unfolding horror. Suddenly, Lucas gasped for breath, his voice weak, yet fierce. "Ethan, you can't run from this. The truth will come out." Emma's stomach twisted. Was he talking about the fortune, or something much darker? Hope tangled with dread. What secrets wrapped Ethan? As he moved toward Lucas, desperation etched across his face. Emma felt a surge of doubt. Was he truly a hero, or had the glimmer of wealth been merely a facade? Just as Ethan knelt beside Lucas, intent on offering help or an explanation, the door slammed open once more. Another wave flooded in. A group of law enforcement officers, grim determination in their eyes. Tension thickened. They had arrived for more than just badges and uniforms. They were there to claim a truth buried beneath secrets, lies, and blood. "Ethan Sterling, you are under arrest," one officer declared, voice cutting through the chaos. "We have reason to believe you are involved in fraud and conspiracy." Stunned silence fell. Emma's heart stopped. The man she'd looked up to, the one who seemed like a shining star, was being dragged into shadows. The truth twisted tighter around them, a noose ready to snap. As confusion sparked anew, Emma stood frozen, torn between wanting to believe in Ethan and the stark reality unraveling before her. A storm raging in her mind. The night had morphed from a simple gala to a catastrophic revelation. Her dreams danced like flames, flickering dangerously close to destruction. What truth was Ethan hiding? And could she ever trust him again? Ethan stood frozen, barely, hearing the hushed whispers and startled gasps around him. "You're under arrest," the officer repeated, but the words barely penetrated the fog in his mind. He could feel Emma's eyes on him, confusion and worry etched across her face. He opened his mouth to speak, to explain, but the words crawled away, leaving only a desperate emptiness. Lucas lay on the floor, struggling to breathe, the silver knife glinting ominously beside him. With every passing second, the chaos in the room mutated into a whirlwind of fear and anticipation. Sirens wailed in the distance, churning a sense of urgency through the crowd. And then, something unimaginable happened. Lucas, gasping and pale, suddenly seemed to shake off the horror of his injury. A flicker of awareness sparked in his eyes that hadn't been there before. "Ethan," he croaked, voice thick and strained. "You always thought you could control everything." Ethan's heart raced as he caught the challenge he'd never expected. "What are you talking about?" he spat, a mix of anger and dread burning in his chest. But Lucas wasn't finished. "Ask your father about the real reason behind your success, about the money, the dirty money." Silence collapsed over the room like a heavy curtain. All eyes turned toward Ethan. Emma's gaze narrowed, searching him for answers, for something, Anything to make sense of the spiraling storm. What? Emma whispered, numbly clutching the bank statement still crumpled in her hand. Ethan's face washed over with disbelief and tension. It felt like the walls were closing in, the echoes of the crowd fading into an ominous drumbeat in his ears. "That's not true, Lucas," he shouted, but the quiver in his voice betrayed the cracks forming in his carefully crafted world. The officers moved closer, beginning to assess Lucas's injuries. "Get help," someone shouted, but Lucas waved them off, struggling to prop himself up. "I won't let you hide," he gasped. "Give it up, Ethan. You think your wealth makes you untouchable? Everyone will know. Your name, your family, the real truth is coming." Suddenly, with one fierce tug, he pulled out a flash drive from his pocket, holding it up like a damning jewel. "All the evidence you need. Everything." Lucas wheezed, presenting it for all to see, his expression melding pain with triumph. "I've got it all documented. Every shady deal, every lie. You wanted power? Here it is." Ethan felt as if the room had tilted on its axis. His mind raced. The Gala, his reputation, everything he'd built was crumbling. "No," he shouted, stepping forward, but before he could reach Lucas, the officers moved to secure the scene. "What the hell is going on?" someone in the crowd shouted. Incredulity rippling through the onlookers. In the chaos, Emma's heart thudded painfully. She'd admired Ethan. She had dreamed of a life beyond waitress gigs. But now this? "What have you done?" she whispered, looking at him with growing fear. Lucas laughed. Ugh. Harsh, painful sound. "You should have told her the truth, Ethan. The truth about how you got that first million. It'll blow your perfect world apart." Just then, everything shifted again. In the midst of this fray, as tension rippled through the room, a chilling sound echoed, an electronic ring, a phone. Lucas looked at Ethan, eyes glimmering with a dangerous truth, then his voice dropped to a whisper. "You have 10 seconds, before it all falls apart." Ethan's heart slammed against his chest, panic rippling through him. What was on that phone? What else was buried in his world of wealth and ambition? 10. Lucas counted down, a malevolent grin creeping across his face, as if savoring the moment of revelation. Ethan's world spun. Questions darted through his mind like wild birds. Could Lucas be bluffing? Would this flash drive be his downfall? 8. Emma stepped closer to Ethan, eyes wide with confusion. "What is happening, Ethan?" 7. "I'll explain," he murmured, desperation clawing at his voice. 6. Lucas continued relentless, as the crowd collectively held its breath. The chilling atmosphere pressed down, leaving everyone caught in an electric silence. Uncertainty filled the room, punctuated only by the ticking clock of Lucas's countdown. And somewhere deep within Ethan, everything was about to shatter. Ethan felt time standing still. 5. Lucas continued, a smirk creeping across his lips, as if relishing the chaos enveloping them all. But then, something shifted in the atmosphere, like the air before a storm. A low hum whirled in the background, an uneasy sound that thrummed through the crowd. Then footsteps, heavy and sure. The crowd turned, faces melting from shock into confusion. A figure appeared at the back of the room, stepping forward through the shifting shadows. It was Delilah, Ethan's mother. Her presence seemed to drain the air from the room, dressed in an elegant gown that flowed like water. She moved toward the chaos with a calmness that undershot her fierce expression. Gasps echoed, whispers rushed like wind. "What are you doing here?" Ethan managed, the words clawed from his throat. But Delilah didn't respond. Instead, her attention locked onto Lucas. "You're too late, Lucas." Her voice cut through the tension. It was steady, almost taunting. "The truth is already out." 4. Lucas's sneer faltered. A chink in his armor appeared. "What do you mean?" But she was already at his side, squatting down, eyes glowing with determination. "You think you can destroy my son and his name? You've underestimated me." A hush fell over the crowd. Emma's heart raced, disbelief washing over her. What was happening? The pieces shifted, like a jigsaw puzzle threatening to break apart. Lucas's smirk faded. What do you have, Delilah? Some old threats? No, Delilah replied slowly, her gaze unwavering. Some new truths. Then she pulled out a small USB drive, black, unassuming, yet it vibrated with the weight of hidden stories. This has everything you've tried to bury, Lucas. Everything. About illegal deals, dirty money, and plots to take Ethan down. The silence wrapped around them, thick like fog. Emma's chest tightened. This wasn't just a game anymore. 3. Lucas glanced back, weighing his options, a flicker of panic crossing his face. The crowd shifted, uneasy and electric. Everyone's eyes were glued to the standoff. You're bluffing, he spat, a quiver creeping into his voice. I've been collecting evidence long before you ever tried to scheme your way into this gala. Delilah shot back, her voice a blade slicing through the tension. You've taken my family through too much. Now it's time to expose you for the fraud you are. Time seemed suspended, breaths caught in throats, the crowd on the edge of a collective gasp. A pregnant pause where everything felt heavy and real. 2. Lucas took a step back, confidence waning, shadowed by the truth. Then, suddenly, as if the world had turned upside down, the lights flickered again. This time not just a power glitch. As the lights dimmed, a shrill noise erupted, piercing and frantic. Ethan stood frozen, confusion morphing into fear that clutched his heart. Get down, someone yelled, panic breaking the tension like glass shattering. Thick smoke began to swirl through the room, clawing its way into throats, wrapping around everyone's panic-stricken fear. People scrambled, chaos erupting anew. Get him out, someone shouted, and bodies collided as they rushed towards the exits. The smoke billowed, clouds of gray cutting off the exit. Ethan's eyes widened, fear cracking over his features as he looked back to Delilah. What's happening? Can't you see? We need to get out. No, she said, still holding the USB tightly. This isn't just about escape. This. Then a loud bang resonated, echoing in a terrible crescendo. The doors swung open with a crash, and in a wild twist, armed figures poured into the room, eyes scanning. This is a raid, one shouted, their voice deep and authoritative. And just like that, everything spiraled into an unexpected darkness. The twists and turns openly unspooled secrets Eric never knew existed, truths that transformed him. What had Delilah kept hidden? What other stories were trampled beneath the surface? Emma felt her heart drop. The chaos now a swarm around them. Ethan, we need to move, she gasped, desperation clawing at her chest. But as the room descended into confusion, she caught Lucas's eyes. Panic painted his face, and in that moment, Emma realized there was more to the story than greed or ambition. Secrets ran deep, threads weaving through lives living shadows beneath masks. What had she walked into? And as the chaos surged around them, a chilling thought struck. Was anyone truly safe anymore? Chaos engulfed the room, smoke swirling, screams echoing, confusion lurking behind every corner. Emma's heart raced as she turned toward Ethan. What do? We have to get out. Panic surged through her veins, but he remained rooted, fear painted across his face. Ethan stammered, his jaw clenched tight. He scanned the room, eyes darting between the armed figures and the crowd scrambling for safety. I need to find my mom. What? She's right there, Emma pointed, realizing Delilah hadn't moved from her spot. She stood unwavering, clutching the USB drive. But before Ethan could respond, a sharp crack sounded, breaking through the haze like a gunshot. Down, an officer shouted, and in a heartbeat, the chaos turned into a frenzy. Emma ducked, her breath hitching, but Ethan grabbed her arm, pulling her close. Stay with me, he yelled over the uproar. But just then, a loud explosion echoed from the entrance. As bursts of light flooded through the smoke, Emma squinted, heart pounding. Shadows danced, revealing a figure emerging from the chaos. A woman, masked and determined. She wore a slick black suit, her stance exuding authority and menace. "Freeze!" she shouted, voice commanding as the crowd recoiled. Emma's eyes widened. Who was she? Before answers surfaced, Delilah stepped forward, dropping the USB drive. "You don't want to do this," she called, stepping into the fray with unexpected bravery. The officers hesitated, eyes shifting in confusion, but the masked woman remained unyielding. "I have what you're after. Let's skip the theatrics and go straight to the truth." Ethan jerked his head. Confusion paled into a haze of panic. "What? What truth?" But it was too late. The masked woman lunged forward, snatching the drive from the floor, her movements quick and precise. And then, all at once, a piercing shriek erupted through the air, a high-pitched sound that cut through the tension. A blast. The lights flickered again, engulfing the room in chaos. Shouts morphed into screams as fear took hold, and bodies swayed, trying to escape the unseen danger. Emma stumbled backward, but through the chaos, she kept her eyes locked on Ethan. He was calling out, looking for clarity, searching for answers. "You don't know what you're messing with," he shouted, desperation spilling from his voice. The masked woman smirked, raising the USB with a flick of the wrist. "Oh, but I do. You think you're the only one with secrets?" In a heartbeat, the room fell. Quiet, the anticipation heavy like a storm cloud. "What do you mean?" Ethan's voice trembled, and Emma felt a knot in her stomach that wouldn't loosen. "I know about your family's past, Ethan. About everything." The truth echoed in the room like a death knell. Delilah's face went pale, shock rippled through the crowd. Emma's heart sank deeper as curiosity and fear twisted inside her. What secrets were they talking about? "Who are you?" Ethan demanded, resolve surfacing amidst uncertainty. The masked woman took a step closer, shadows playing across her features. "I'm someone who knows the truth, and I'm here to expose you, both of you." Emma's breath hitched. The air felt charged with a sudden, electric intensity. But then, just as everything seemed to hinge on an edge, Ethan's phone vibrated in his pocket, prompting him to fumble for it. His eyes darted as he opened the message. "No," he whispered, disbelief flooding his face. "Ethan, what is it?" Emma reached for him, but his gaze was distant, mind spiraling into the unknown. Someone is coming. Someone I thought I'd left behind." Emma's heart sank. Every second bled tension across the room. What game was being played? The masked woman's smile widened, and her eyes glimmered with a mix of satisfaction and menace. "The past is a ghost, Ethan, and it has returned to haunt you." Just then, a sudden crashing sound reverberated through the room, drowning out thoughts with sheer chaos. The doors burst open again, not with officers or more intruders, but with a group of men in suits, their faces shrouded in shadows. And they weren't here to talk. The room shuddered as the men in suits moved forward, tension crackling in the air. Eyes darted between Delilah and the masked woman, curiosity crashing with fear. "Who are you?" Ethan demanded again, the words bursting from his mouth. "I'm someone who knows everything," the masked woman replied, her voice strong and unyielding. Ethan felt the earth shift beneath him. Emma's heart raced. What truth lay behind those words? But before the woman could respond, one of the newcomers, a tall man with sharp features and an imposing presence, stepped forward, eyes sweeping the crowd. "Stand back," he commanded, his voice slicing through the chaos. The crowd shifted, uncertain, pressing toward the walls, panic whispering through the air like a cold breeze. Emma grabbed Ethan's arm, her heart pounding in her ears. "What's this about?" The man didn't answer. Instead, he waved a hand toward the masked woman. You thought you were so clever? You think we would just forget you?" Her eyes narrowed, defiant. "You don't scare me. You lost your chance long ago." "I didn't lose anything," he shot back, his voice dripping with venom. "You did. You think you can play both sides?" He glanced over the crowd, his gaze sharp like a knife. "This has always been bigger than you." Ethan's pulse hammered in his chest, each word crashing against his airways. "What is happening?" he shouted. Just then, the masked woman stepped forward, lifting her chin. "Let's make this clear. You're either with me, or you're against me. This isn't about you, it's about legacy. Ethan felt his world slip. Fake friendships, false bravado. Was his life truly just a playground for vengeance? But before he could digest more, the tension broke like a wave crashing against rocks. Enough, the tall man shouted. You've taken everything from us. Don't you see? We've come to collect. Your family's secrets are legendary, but it's time you face the consequences. Then, in a move that took everyone by surprise, the masked woman pulled off her mask and revealed a familiar face. A face Emma knew too well. Surprise, she said, a twisted smile crawling across her lips. Is that Claire? Ethan stammered, disbelief hitting him like a freight train. Claire, his childhood friend, the girl from the neighborhood, the one who vanished years ago. She was supposed to be gone, erased from existence like chalk wiped from a blackboard. Claire, Emma's voice broke, stunned recognition flooding her system. But the woman who stood before them was something else entirely. Darker. You've changed. More than you know. Claire's gaze focused on Ethan, a storm brewing behind her eyes. You thought I was out of the game, but I've been watching, waiting. Why? Ethan demanded, struggling to reconcile the girl he once knew with this formidable presence. Because your family is at the heart of something ugly, Ethan, and I'll make sure everyone pays. The reality crashed down like glass shattering around him. All the moments, the successes, the smiles, all tied to a web of deceit he never knew existed. The buzz of shock swept through the crowd, eyes widening, whispers rising. Wait, what did you say? What do you mean? Emma cried out, desperation clawing at her heart. Claire smirked, her expression a mask of chaos and control. Your fairy tale, Ethan's perfect life, is built on shadows. Just wait, it's about to come crashing down. And you, Emma, she turned, piercing green eyes locking onto Emma's. You're in deeper than you realize. What does that mean? Emma felt her stomach knot. There were too many twists and turns, secrets layered upon secrets. She glanced at Ethan, whose face had gone pale, the color draining as he pieced together the horror about to unfold. Just remember, Claire continued, her voice smooth and chilling. The truth is rarely pretty, and everyone's about to face it. A chill ran through the crowd, every face frozen in disbelief. The truth was looming, heavy and dark, ready to fall like an anvil. Every sense screamed urgency as the tension thickened like molasses. And in one heart-stopping moment, the stakes shifted completely, flipping everything on its head. Who held the power now? Who was truly guilty? What lies intertwined their lives? Suddenly, a distant siren wailed, growing louder, smashing the charged silence. The room was about to explode into mayhem again, but not before this shocking revelation shifted the ground beneath them. Ethan caught Emma's gaze, a question burning deep within. What are we going to do? And just as chaos prepared to reignite, they stood on the brink of something unthinkable. Everything they thought they knew was collapsing, the universe tilting. Would they find a way to rise from the wreckage, or was it already too late? With sirens blaring and panic seeping through the crowd, everything felt suspended in time as the masked figure, Claire, stood tall, USB drive in hand. This was the moment they'd all been waiting for, a confrontation brimming with unresolved tension. What do you mean? Ethan's voice was barely a whisper. Now, caught in the storm brewing around them, Emma watched him closely, searching for answers in his eyes, but all she saw was confusion, and something darker lurking beneath. Just then Claire grinned, something twisted lurking behind her expression. You think the truth will set you free? Her voice, smooth and taunting, sent shivers down Emma's spine. Oh, honey, the truth is a much more dangerous game than you're ready for. And then it happened. Just as the tension hit a breaking point, there was a loud crash at the back of the room, wood splintering under the weight of an unseen force. Everyone turned to look, eyes wide with shock. A figure dashed through the doorway, breathless and desperate. It was Ethan's father. "Ethan," he shouted, his voice almost swallowed by the chaos that surrounded them. The sight of him sent ripples through the crowd. "Get down," he cried, rushing into the fray with an urgency that none of them expected. Emma blinked. What is he doing here? Ethan's face fell, a mix of dread and recognition flooding him. "Dad, you need to leave." But it was too late. The moment their eyes locked, Claire smirked. "Now this is interesting. Didn't expect to see the patriarch himself, did we? You thought you could hide everything? Look at the mess you've made." Emma felt her heart race, confusion tangling in her chest. What was happening? What did Claire mean? And then, before anyone could react, Ethan's father collapsed to the floor, clutching his chest. Gasps echoed as bystanders surged forward. "Call a medic," someone shouted desperately. But the crowd grew louder, whispers spiraling into chaos. "Dad, no!" Ethan's voice rose above the panic as he rushed to his father's side. Emma moved too, her instincts kicking in, desperate to help. Panic gripped her. What was wrong? But then another twist. Claire stepped back, her expression shifting from smirk to something darker. This was always part of the plan. Ethan turned to her, disbelief stretching across his face. "What do you mean?" "Your family has buried far too many secrets," Claire taunted, her voice low. "Your father was never innocent. He's part of everything. And now," she gestured toward the USB drive, the tension crackling around them. "Now the truth is coming, even if it means dragging everyone with you." And then, like a chilling reveal in a nightmare, Claire took a step back and pressed a button on the drive. An alarm blared to life, echoing through the room like a death knell. "Wait, no!" Ethan shouted, fear morphing into panic. But it was too late. Screens around the room flickered on, displaying images, documents, evidence of deceit woven deep into Ethan's family's history. Emma stumbled backward, breath hitching as the crowd gasped. The screens lit up with words: money laundering, fraud, conspiracy. It was all there. A web of lies unfolded in front of them like a horrific movie, playing in vivid detail. "No." Ethan collapsed at his father's side, face pale, heart shattering as the truth spilled out for everyone to see. "This isn't happening, not here." And just then a figure emerged from the shadows again, this time unmasked, revealing a familiar face, Emma's own mother. "Mom?" Emma's shock pierced through the chaos as her heart raced. "What are you doing here?" "I had to come back," her mother said, voice steady yet trembling, filled with unspoken weight. "There's so much you don't know, Emma. So much we've hidden." In that moment, Emma's universe tilted. Layers peeled away, leaving her exposed to a haunting truth. Every connection she'd built with Ethan, every dream she'd nurtured, felt like a twisted lie. "Mom, what are you talking about?" Emma was desperate for answers, but there was only horror reflected in her mother's eyes. And as everything spiraled, the realization crashed down like a tidal wave. Secrets intertwined, lives corrupted, the world they once knew shattered like glass. "Hold on," a voice cried out from the chaos. "This isn't over." But the words felt meaningless. Because as Emma stood there, torn between a love she thought was real and a horrifying truth, she knew nothing would ever be the same again. The room trembled with tension, and somewhere deep down, a question loomed over them all. What would they do with a truth so devastating? The room trembled with shock, the screens flashing damning evidence, illuminating truths hidden for far too long. Emma stood frozen, her heart thumping like a drum, confusion crashing over her like waves. She caught Ethan's eye, desperation etching lines into his face. His father lay on the ground, eyes searching, breath short. "Mom?" Emma's voice barely escaped her lips, tinged with disbelief. The weight of her mother's presence added a layer of confusion, a dark thread woven into the tapestry of chaos. "What are you doing here?" she asked, voice quaking. "I had to come. You have to believe me, Emma. I tried to protect you." Her mother's voice cracked, her face pale, revealing a truth that gnawed at Emma's gut. But before anyone could grasp what lay beneath the surface, Claire leaned in closer to Ethan, her grin tightening. "You really think this is just about your family? Think again." She pointed at the screens, her finger trembling with power. "The story isn't over yet." Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the corner of the room, an unexpected sound that sent everyone jerking in alarm. They turned as another figure burst in, panting, wild-eyed. It was Jack, Ethan's cousin, but he looked different, more frantic than before. "Ethan, we have to go," he shouted, breathless, eyes darting wide with terror. "They're coming. We're not safe." Before Ethan could respond, another group of suited men pushed through the chaos, but this time they weren't officers. Their movements were fluid, predatory. One stepped forward, revealing himself. It was Marcus, Ethan's long-lost uncle, the family's forgotten skeleton. "Jack, run!" Ethan shouted now, panic sharp in his voice. Marcus grinned, a cruel twist to his lips. "You thought you escaped, didn't you? But family ties are stronger than you think." His presence filled the room with a chilling sense of foreboding. "Uncle Marcus? But you were—" Ethan's voice faltered, and the pieces of the puzzle turned dark, shifting ominously. "Dead? No, just hidden. You didn't think I'd let this play out without my touch?" He chuckled, eyes glistening with malice. "I know the truth about your precious family business, about everything." Emma felt her heart pound in her throat. What did he know? What dark secrets lurked behind the sterling name? She caught a glimpse of her mother. "Mom, what is he talking about?" The chaos swirled around them, but Marcus continued, his voice a sinister murmur. "You see, Ethan, this family has blood on its hands, and I'm here to collect what's rightfully mine." "What?" Ethan's voice cracked, raw and edged with disbelief. "This isn't about money. This is about lives." But nothing could quell the rising tide of tension. The air around them thickened, like fog, disorienting and suffocating. Whispers erupted from the crowd, panic spreading like wildfire. "Who is this guy?" someone murmured. "What does he mean?" And then it happened. Another figure emerged from the shadows, stepping into view, commanding attention. Emma squinted, trying to process. It was a woman she recognized, yet her heart sank as she replayed. The memories, the family friend, the person who had always been there. "Leah," Emma gasped. "You?" Leah stepped closer, gaze steady, but her expression bore the weight of deep-seated betrayal. "I've known for years, Emma, and I thought I could help. But this game is bigger than us. It's not just about secrets, it's a war." Darkness cloaked the room, as confusion wrapped around like a suffocating blanket. "What do you mean a war?" Ethan asked, his tone desperate as pieces of his world began to slip through his fingers. Leah smiled, sad, knowing. "The Sterling legacy is not just about wealth, it's about control. You've been pawns in a game that's far more dangerous than you assumed." "What are you saying?" Ethan's voice faltered, the breathless uncertainty rising in him like a wave. As Marcus stepped forward to align himself with Leah, the silence deepened. The foundations of loyalty began to crack. Friendships tasted bitter, and Emma felt in her bones that everything she thought she knew was about to be turned upside down. The cameras continued to capture it all, flashing truths that no one could escape. And just as she thought she might burst from the weight of it all, Marcus raised a hand, sweeping it in a grand gesture. "Welcome to the real family reunion." In that moment, the truth felt like a knife, cutting through her heart. Relationships began to unravel. Loyalty became a poison. Emma drew back, eyes wide with horror. Who could she trust now? As the realization hit her, another voice broke through the chaos, sharp and clear. "There's something you all don't know." And now they stood on the precipice of the unknown, urgently drawn into a world of secrets, where the line between family and foe blurred like smoke in the air. What awaited them next? The truth promised to unveil horrors beyond imagination, truths that shook the very core of their existence. Leaving everyone gasping for breath, teetering on the brink of devastation, Emma's heart raced, a roller coaster of emotions crashing within her as everything unraveled before her wide eyes. The air was thick with tension, the faces around her shifting from shock to fear, whispers crisscrossing through the stunned crowd like electricity. "Stop," Ethan shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos, desperation edging his tone. He rushed to his father's side, fingers trembling as he checked for a pulse, praying, pleading silently that the man he had looked up to for years was still alive. "Someone call for medical assistance." A woman screamed from the back, her voice saturated with panic. Claire stood at the epicenter of the turmoil, relishing the moment, a puppeteer enjoying her performance. "It's too late for him. He's already implicated in this mess. This is just the beginning, Ethan." "What have you done?" Ethan's jaw tightened, fury and disbelief mingling, as he glared at Claire, his childhood friend, whose loyalty had twisted into betrayal before. His eyes. As the urgency of the situation pressed in, Emma felt a surge of courage. She stepped forward, breaking the suffocating weight of fear. "No, we're not letting you win, Claire." Her voice rang out, strong yet trembling, grounding her in that storm of chaos. This jarred a flicker of realization in Ethan. He turned to Emma, fear giving way to determination. "You're right. We can't let her take this from us." And then, like a sudden clap of thunder, Jack shouted, "We need to expose her for what she is, Ethan." He stepped forward, joining Emma, his eyes lit with fierce loyalty. "The world deserves to know what Claire has done." Claire's expression darkened, the smirk faltering at the edges. "You think anyone will believe a pair of misfits like you?" Her voice was sharp, but beneath it lay a thread of uncertainty that Emma seized upon. "Everyone will be watching," Emma declared, her voice steady as anchors now holding her. "This isn't just about us. It's about the people you've hurt, Claire. The lies can't hold up to the truth forever." Marcus shifted, merging back into the shadows, and Leah, wide-eyed, added her voice. "There's too much at stake for us to remain silent. We're united against your manipulation, Claire." With every word, the crowd began to stir. Energy buzzed, fear giving way to resistance. They had grown from passive observers to warriors, ready to battle deceit with the truth. "You all think you can just join forces and plot against me?" Claire hissed, but the doubt in her voice revealed her uncertainty. Then, in a shocking twist, Ethan's father groaned and lifted his head, eyes flickering open. What happened?" His breath was shaky, but he fought against the weight of his own secrets. "I'm sorry." Ethan knelt beside him, breathless, pain cutting through him. "I'll figure this out, I swear it." In that fragile moment, something shifted in the air. The whispers grew louder. People turned to see the undeniable truth unfolding on the screens. Evidence of lies lit up the walls like a damning testimony, and the truth came rushing forth, cutting through confusion, igniting resolve. With a sudden shove, Claire launched forward, but Leah's swift grasp on her arm halted her. "You think you can intimidate us? This isn't the end, it's just the beginning." Panic surged through the crowd as officers returned, grim expressions settling back into the chaos. "What's happening here?" a leader barked, and tension crackled anew as choices unraveled like intricate threads. Claire's facade crumbled. "You won't win this," she screamed, a desperate howl that echoed throughout the room. But it was too late. The truth shone brightly, piercing through like the first rays of dawn. Ethan stepped beside Emma, the stark reality of their unity palpable. "We are together in this," he assured, locking his gaze onto hers, strength resonating in the air. With Ethan's father finally stabilized, and the officers rallying the crowd, the tides began to turn. Claire stumbled back, defeated as the truth emerged victorious. As the revelations unraveled further, the storm of whispers peaked into acceptance. Emma caught Ethan's eye. In that connection, she felt the weight of everything slip away. They were no longer the naive duo drawn into a dark world. They were architects of their own fate. "I believe in us," Emma whispered softly, a resolute flame igniting in her core. And with that, the crowd erupted into cheering support. The chaos settled, relief washing through, leaving them a space for healing, a chance to reclaim lives twisted by deceit. Love, truth, sacrifice, all bound them now, the resolution writing their new chapter, a beginning, anew. As the dust of the past settled, they found their footing, hearts full of hope for the future. Now, if you enjoyed this heart-pounding conclusion, you have to subscribe right now. Don't miss any of the next exclusive stories. We have so much more coming your way. Smash the like button right now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Flood the comment section with your thoughts and theories about the ending. What do you think will happen to Ethan and Emma next? This is the moment to show your support. And don't wait even one more second to share this with at least 5 friends who need to see how this wild ride ends. Your participation makes all the difference.